Earlier this summer, 12-year-old Kaylee Hardig was doing what most kids do to beat the summer heat here in Arkansas, taking a swim at a local water park. Soon after, Kaylee became ill, and on Friday, July 19th, she developed a rising fever. Her mother, Tracy, recognized that her daughter needed immediate attention and brought her to the emergency department here at Arkansas Children's Hospital. It was her quick action that probably saved her life. Little did Kaylee or her family know that she was fighting much more than a fever. In fact, she was in for the fight of her life, battling primary amoebic meningoencephalitis, or PAM, an infectious disease of the central nervous system. It's a disease so rare that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention tell us that only 128 PAM cases have been documented from 1962 to 2012, with only 2 known survivors. By all accounts, if you believe every report you read, the odds were clearly against Kaylee. Over the past 2 months, her story captivated our nation and the hearts of families and children from coast to coast, all anxiously awaiting news of Kaylee's recovery, hoping, praying for a miracle. And I'm here to tell you today that miracles do happen, and one such miracle happened here at Arkansas Children's Hospital. Now, 55 days later, Kaylee Hardig has made history here at Arkansas Children's Hospital as the 3rd survivor of primary amoebic meningoencephalitis. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Hardig family. Her dad, Sergeant Joseph Hardig, with the Arkansas National Guard, who had been stationed in Kuwait with the 449th Aviation Support Battalion. Her mom, Tracy, and of course, Kaylee. Please join me in welcoming them as they come in. Today is a momentous day for Kaylee, and one that we've been waiting on as long as she has. She's going home, and we're so happy about that. You've had a long and exhausting journey, Kaylee, and we know that you're anxious to get home. We promise to make this quick. But before we get to questions, we have 2 quick presentations. The first, a special message from Tiffany Butler, who is the Director of External Affairs in the Office of the Governor of Arkansas.
Dear Kaylee, I am so happy to hear that you are leaving Arkansas Children's Hospital and going home today after winning your battle with a terrifying virus that attacked you. I know that you went through a very difficult illness and rehabilitation process, and I want you to know that I've been thinking about you and your family. I am impressed by your bravery and your courage. I join everyone in Arkansas and people around the world in wishing you a speedy and full recovery. I am proud of you, your family, and the wonderful staff at Arkansas Children's Hospital, and hope you'll come to visit me at the Capitol whenever you can. Sincerely, Governor Mike Beebe.
And now we have another special visitor, our hospital mascot, Scout. Scout, why don't you come on out? Is here to wish you well, and I think his helpers have a couple of things for you as well. Thanks, Scout. We appreciate you being here. Before we begin, for your reference, Doctors Matt Lynham and Dr. Esther Tompkins have treated Kaylee. Dr. Lynham was one of the first of many physicians to see and treat Kaylee throughout her journey, and Dr. Tompkins has been overseeing her care and therapy as she continued her miraculous recovery. I'd also be remiss if I didn't recognize the fact that there are many ACH team members, many of them are here with us today, that participated in her care. If you helped care for Kaylee, would you please stand and let us recognize you as well? Thanks for all that you do, and literally the whole hospital team has been so excited to see you get better, and is excited that you're going home today.
Basically, looking at Kaylee, she was running a very high fever. She would not play with her little dog, Chloe. She didn't want her sleeping by her or touching her. And then once I would try to get the fever down, Motrin, Tylenol, nothing would bring her fever down. And then she started vomiting, and it was just, I don't know how to describe it. It was just not a normal type. I mean, even the way she projectiled, the way she looked, her eyes, and, her pupils were dilated, and she just couldn't even hold her head up, to the point that if I hadn't have been there, she could have choked. So it was just the point that I knew that this wasn't right. This wasn't something that she's had before. And so I called my husband at that point, and I'm like, we're going to Children's, and he's like, okay. So it was just, I just had the feeling that it wasn't right. At first, I'm not gonna lie, it was a roller coaster that I never wanted to be on. The first 22 days being in ICU, you just never knew. You're told the worst news possible, and then to go from that outcome to not having your child maybe to this road that we've been down and get to actually take her home. I've got to watch a miracle unfold right in front of my eyes, and it's been the greatest thing it could possibly be.
All right, well, as you know, she's going home this afternoon. We had a team conference with the whole rehab team yesterday, including her principal and a teacher from her school came. She will, as of now, return to school on Friday afternoon just to meet everybody and to have a reunion with all of her classmates and peers. And then hopefully that will solve the hoopla, because Monday morning we plan for Kaylee to go back to school from 9 until noon and hopefully start to learn and be back in school during that time, 3 hours. And then in the afternoons, she will be going to get her therapy, which will consist of PT, OT, and speech. She will follow up with me in 4 to 6 weeks. And then at that time, I'm hopeful that she will be ready to go back to school full time.
I'm just glad to see it's here. There's no words you can say. I'm just glad it's here.
To play with my dog Chloe. Kind of cool. I'm lucky to be alive. Be careful when you go to water parks.
Say, wear your nose plug.
Wear your nose plug. With your nose. Fine.
So often we hear about in healthcare, where things didn't go as planned. I think this is just a great story of things going well. The first is Kaylee's mom, recognizing that something wasn't right, bringing her into the hospital, bringing her to a place that had the resources to manage her quickly. And then from there, Don Foster, one of our ER physicians, recognizing something wasn't right. There was something different. Recognized that this child needed a lumbar puncture to more fully evaluate what was going on. That was a crucial, timely decision that if hadn't been done, one of the many things that if hadn't been done correctly, we wouldn't be here now. Our lab technicians were the ones that actually identified the amoeba on one of the microscope slides. That's something that we rarely see. If they hadn't recognized that and called me right away, that was the game changer. That was the turning point. Once we knew that, we were able to start her on the right medicines. Again, time was of the essence, and without that information, we would have started down a very different path of care. And then really from there, from that point on, it was just amazing to be a part of just incredible teamwork from the critical care physicians and nurses and all the neurosurgeons, all the other people that were involved in their care. Everybody sort of had their A game going. They were doing everything that they could do and doing it to their best. And then everybody was communicating well, things that we often fall short on in healthcare. Everything went perfect. It went right. And I think this is an example of healthcare at its best and what can be accomplished. I think they arrived in the ER around 2 or 3 o'clock. She had the lumbar puncture just a few hours later. I think I got called about 6 p.m. and she was on the right medication probably about an hour later. I think the symptoms with PAM are really no different than any other form of serious meningitis, serious bacterial, serious viral meningitis. So, the high fever, the severe headache, the vomiting, sleepier than usual, those are all sort of big red flags that when you've got, sort of a combination of those together is a reason to bring your child in to have them evaluated quickly. I mean, there's many other things that are way more common than PAM that need to be evaluated and managed quickly as well. So, but those would be the symptoms that I would, if you have a child that has those symptoms, those are what you need to bring them in quickly for. It likely will be something else, but still may be something every bit as serious. There's a number of physicians here at the hospital that are working together, as well as we're working closely with one of the doctors from the Centers for Disease Control. And as we move forward, that's our goal, is to just sit down and sort of go through this case. I mean, I've talked with Kaylee's mom on a number of occasions, just trying to get the time frame down and just really try to learn everything we can so we can sort of get it down on paper, get it out as quickly as we can to other physicians. Time is of the essence, but for when a patient arrives quickly and is identified quickly, we start out of the gate immediately with the best therapy, and hopefully, add to Kaylee's club. A lot of the medicines that we use to treat this are medicines that we use for other infections. Some of them are antifungal medicines, some are antibacterial medicines. So it's sort of this weird cocktail of medicines that we use. And that's what we started with. And yes, I did look it up in a book because I knew some of them, but not all of them, and I needed to double check the doses. So. The other medicine that we used, a medicine called miltefosine, we got from the Centers for Disease Control, and that arrived a day or so into her therapy and then was added on top of what we were already doing.
Okay. Thanks very much. Members of our Kaylee, Tracy, and Sergeant Hardig, on behalf of all of us at Arkansas Children's Hospital, it's been our honor caring for you and your family. And we've got some members of our team that'll help get you back to your room as you prepare and get ready to go. And we're excited for that y'all are going to get to go home and see your dog and see your friends and carry on. And all of our best to you. Take care, Kaylee, and Godspeed. This concludes our news conference.